Welcome, everyone. If you are looking for tap into intelligent marketing with Salesforce Einstein, I think you are in the right place. Uh, let's give, I think, one more minute for other participants to join, and then we will start. Okay, I think let's start. So before we start this webinar, I just want to launch a quick poll to understand like how many of you are actually using Einstein in your org, right? So let me take a poll. I've launched the poll. So are you using analytics for your marketing? Just say yes or no, and that will give me a fair amount of idea about how we are actually using analytics in your org. Okay. So I think we have got the results. So I think it's almost that none of the people who are attending this webinar are actually using Salesforce Einstein for marketing. So that's good to know. So again, I welcome you all. And today's webinar, what we will going to learn is what impact Salesforce Einstein can actually provide to your marketing team and how you can actually use Salesforce Einstein to improve your marketing. And before that, we will just talk a little bit about how actually Salesforce Einstein works so that you understand the process of how it actually helps you in marketing. So let's get started. So this is the basic concept of Salesforce Einstein Analytics. Okay, so as you can see, you have three parts to it. What Einstein does is actually first obtain data from different sources. So your data sources can be Salesforce, it can be your AMS system, Fontiva, Nimble, Salsa, whatever you are using. It can be your event apps that you may be using. You may be using C event, or you may be using Salsa events or Fontiva event. Then there may be some external CSV files where you're actually maintaining data. Okay. So all this data actually flows into a data engine, which is actually called the Einstein Analytics Engine, right? And what Einstein does is actually take data, right, and transform it into different structures or data sets, right? And then these data sets actually are delivered in the form of lenses. Lenses is actually the user reports, which are out of the box reports provided by Einstein. So either lenses or reports, whatever you call them, in Einstein Analytics keyword, we call them lenses. Okay. And then you can have your dashboards where you can have a holistic view of all the reports that you want to see. And maybe you can structure your own data sets. So there are three things which actually Einstein does: gets the data, right? Transforms the data into something that is presentable. And then this transformation is fed into different outputs, which can be your dashboards and which can be your reports. Okay. So that is how the Einstein Analytics Engine works in very, very layman language. Now, what is the purpose of using analytics or Einstein Analytics, right? The whole purpose of any analytics platform is to actually understand the behavior of your members, behavior of your prospects, so that you can actually understand what they like about your system, what they don't like about your association or nonprofit, right? And how engaged they are overall with your association, right? So you cannot do that process manually. And that is what Einstein Analytics does, right? It understands, it's basically a persona building engine, right? Where it identifies your members, club them into different personas, okay? So the first engine that it has is persona engine, which actually uh, derives of who you are. Okay, what your members look like, right? What they like, what they don't like. Okay, then there is a content engine. Okay, because everyone is not interested in the same content that you're providing to them. Okay, if there are a lot of students who are a part of your association, they may have a different taste. They may like some certifications to be done. They may like certain certification courses. If they are actually looking for jobs, they would be more interested in the job notifications. If they are retired professionals, they would be more interested in their retirement plans or maybe something that interests them. So it actually depends, and everyone has a different taste. But unless we know their background of our members, right, we cannot decide what they're interested in. So that is what Einstein Analytics does. It identifies who the members are, what they are actually interested in, and then it actually does a scoring on them, or maybe provides them a different score, so that it can do a segmentation of your members and say that what is the best content that is applicable, that will actually help and suit them, and that will actually help them create interest in your association and involve more participation in the events that you are doing. Okay, so let's try to understand from an example of how the analytics engine works, right? How does it actually does scoring? How does it actually identifies the content that your members are interested in, right? So let's try to understand it. So there are different persona building indicators that Einstein uses. Okay. Now, these indicators are very common things that your members might be doing. Okay. So they might be attending events. Okay. Maybe your annual events or maybe your webinars. Then they may be enrolled in your community subscriptions, right? So they might be your community subscribers. They might be interested in your products and services that you are providing. They are actually logging into campaigns and checking what all new you have for them. They are associated with some kind of volunteer cause and events that you are doing for them and making their attendance for your campaigns. They are making donations to your foundation. They are actually liking what you are posting in the community, right? So all these kind of indicators help Einstein determine the type of members you have within your org. Okay, these are just example indicators. There may be many more indicators it might be using, but these are some of the indicators which are actually influencing the scoring mechanism for Einstein. So these are some of the indicators that it actually uses to understand your members and understand what content they might be interested in. Okay, so every indicator has got a score attached to it, which is used for by the analytics engine to score different types of members they are engaged in. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take an example of Veronica and let's take an example of Jeremy. Okay, so Veronica visited your website. So what Einstein Analytics does is maybe assign a score of +1 to Veronica. Then she also attends a conference, so which has a weightage of 20. So the analytics engine assigns a scores of 20 to it. Veronica also downloads an ebook, which is great. So +4 to it. She fills out a membership form. And then maybe it may be that she's inactive for some more time, right? So it assigns a negative score to it. So depending since, and as you can see, Veronica is quite active in a lot of events. She's active on the website. She's attending conference. She has downloaded an ebook. She has mailed out the membership form, which means she is a prospect who is actually interested to join your association, right? And this data is actually fed from your marketing team, right, to the sales team. And they say that We have nurtured this lead. This lead is very active, visiting our websites, downloaded an ebook, filled out the membership form. So let's move Veronica to the sales queue, and sales call can executive can actually give her a call and close the deal and make Veronica a member of your association, right? So this information actually helps both the marketing team to nurture their leads well and determine that what kind of activities a lead is or a prospect is more interested in, right? And once it and at what stage has that lead nurtured into, so that we can actually move that lead into the sales team. See, similarly, we have another prospect, which may be Jeremy. So as you can see, Jeremy is not active on website, inactive. She has even unsubscribed from your marketing email campaigns, right? But all of a sudden, she fills out a best practices landing page. Okay, so you know that what interests Jeremy is maybe best practices form that she has filled in. So maybe you can actually land relevant marketing material to her to nurture that lead and move it to that level where sales team can actually call her and close the deal. Okay. So this is the kind of scoring that analytics engine does at the back end to determine and segment your members and help the marketing team to determine which prospects to close and at what stage they are in terms of nurture. Okay. Now, based on the scoring of different members, okay, or different prospects, it actually segments all your prospects and members into 4 main key groups. Okay. As you can see in the screen, these 4 groups are starting with, if you start at the bottom, we see this win back and dormant group. Okay. So win back and dormant group is some people or members or prospects who have a low open rate, almost zero, and a low click rate on all the emails or campaigns that you send it across to them or any material that you send to them, right? So they are actually dormant leads, right? And that helps you determine that these are the prospects or members who are not contributing and are not interested in what you are providing them. So there is some work that you need to do to bring them to the next level. Okay. So you need to decide the strategy based on the dormant leads. Similarly, if we move to a higher level, we have got window shoppers. Window shoppers means window shopping who actually see a lot of content, but their click rate is overall low. Okay, so they are opening the email campaigns that you're sending them, but they're not clicking the links or downloading the materials that you are sending it to them through email, right? So their open rate is high. So that means they are interested in what you are sending, but somehow due to certain reasons, they are not clicking the actual content which is there in the email, right? So we call them window shoppers. They are window shoppers who have, if we work on them, right, and see what content they want, maybe we can move them to level up where they can start even clicking on the links that you are providing to them, right? So we have got win back dormant, we have got window shoppers. Then if you move up a little level, we have got selective subscribers, right? Selective subscribers are one who are very selective in what they want. Okay. So even though their opening rate is low, but their click rate is high. So they might have opened just 2 mails of out of the 10 that you have sent across to them. But out of those 2 emails that they have opened, they have actually gone and clicked the link that you have sent across to them, or downloaded the ebook that you might have sent across to them, or download any other stuff that you might have sent across to them, right? So they are selective. They are very selective in what they want to click. So they have low open rate, but high click rate. So with this, you can actually know what a selective subscriber is more interested in, and you can start sending him future contents based on what he has clicked. Okay. Then at the top of the list, you have loyalists. So a loyalist is someone who has both a high open rate and high click. Okay. So he's opening almost 85% of your emails, and they're also clicking on the link that it is actually accompanied with the emails. Okay. So this segments your members. And for each segmentation, for loyalist, you will have a different marketing strategy. For a selective subscriber, you have a different marketing strategy. For window shoppers, you will have a different strategy. And for dormant leads, you will have to work and see what works for them and how do we make them to actually move to window shoppers or selective subscriber level. Okay. So that is how Einstein does that persona segmentation based on the indicators and based on the scoring. Now, this is an example of engagement scoring dashboard, which Einstein Analytics provides. So as you can see, it has divided members into 4 parts, right? Which are actually your dormant leads, your loyalists, selective subscribers, and window shoppers. So you can see different figures out here, right? Which are actually 713576 are actually your dormant leads who have a low open and low click. Then there are 527313. So all these figures you have, which actually tells you the number of loyalists, number of selective subscribers, and window shoppers. Okay, and based on the number, right, you have other indicators as well, right? So you have indicators which talks about the average likelihood to stay subscribed, right? So it says that for the next 14 days, 99.93% are actually planning to stay with your subscription, right? And depending on the market standards, that is a good score. So you can see it as marked it as good. So you're good on that. So for email open production, what it says is there is 7.08% chances that there is an average likelihood to open the emails that you send, which is not good as per market standards. So it has rated as fair. Okay. Similarly, for email click prediction, it says that it has got 9.14% likelihood to click, which is as per market standards an excellent rating, right? So during the next 14 days, your audience is much more likely than average to click a link within an email. Okay. Similarly, web conversion prediction, which is actually not as per standard, but fair. Okay. So these predictions actually help you determine your member engagement based on the 4 behaviors. Okay. And these actually help you determine how your marketing campaigns will work for the next 14 days. Right. And depending on market standards, where your marketing campaign stands, right? So if it is excellent, it is good. If it is good, that means it's performing well. But if it is poor, you need to work on that. Okay. So these are the kind of prediction Einstein Analytics gives. And these predictions are all based on the historical data that is stored for your members within the system. Okay. It is predicting based on the past behavior of members and how they have been performing through various activities. And this 4 things, right? Win back, window, selective subscriber, and loyalist. This is something I think very unique, which is an asset that Einstein provides, which helps you in determining which things are working for you and which things are not working for you. So this is an excellent dashboard that Einstein Analytics provide. And how it provides, we have already discussed about it based on the engagement indicators, based on the scoring, right? It segments your prospects, it segments your members, and based on the different segmentation and the predictions, you can define your marketing strategy. So now let's take a look and understand how all these things actually help you and help your marketing team to benefit more. Okay. So with Einstein, what it does is it actually looks at the person's past interactions, like we have seen. For example, maybe Alex viewed your website and you know like what links she clicked in your emails, right? So Einstein will store that interaction within the system and provide a score to it. And it will actually, this analytics engine will keep on running and it will know your patterns, right? And will determine what works best for Alex, right? And what more content she would like from the marketing team. Okay, because it has stored what links Alex has actually clicked on. So based on the past behavior, it will actually let you know, or let your marketing team know what is the kind of content that is expected from the marketing team, which Alex is expecting from them. Right now, based on these kind of predictions, you can actually, your marketing team can craft appeals and communication on what works best for Alex, right? And there may be certain things which she does not like. She is not clicking on those links. So in future emails, we can avoid sending those links or flooding her inbox with those messages which are not working, right? So this again helps Alex get rid of unwanted messages and just get something which is preferential to her. Now, I think I think this is the best part where Einstein Analytics actually help, because what it does is it actually saves your team from a lot of tedious data analysis work. Okay, we human beings are not good at analysis. What we are good at is talking to people, right? Understanding what they want and maybe delivering that kind of stuff with empathy, right? And that is what we humans are made for. We don't want to sit in front of our laptops or desktops and work on huge Excels and analyze what members want, what members don't want. So if that work can be done by some kind of tool and give them that this is something that member wants, they can actually call that member and maybe try to speak to them, because that personal touch is something that is missing nowadays, which everyone requires. And if they get a call from some of your executives, which actually tells them that we know about them and we care for them, I think nothing better than that, right? So AI just takes that stuff away from you and lets you focus on motivating your members, persuading your members, and engaging your supporters with a human touch. Okay, so your staff will not get involved in the tedious task of sitting in the front of the desk and analyzing. Rather than they can go out of the field, they can pick up a phone and start talking to your prospects or members and start engaging with them through the information that is being fed to them through the analytics platform. So like before, when you have got deeper connections and got your Einstein Analytics do the hardcore stuff on analysis, your team can actually spend time more on engaging tasks, right? So they can spend their time doing more meaningful and fulfilling work, which are more of soft and strategic skills, right? So human brain is designed to make a strategy based on the inputs that they receive. Okay. So, and I think with the AI, what will happen is people will, the executives that you have who are actually trying to persuade your members will have much more freedom and which be more relaxed in talking to people rather than just engaging in non-ending technical jobs which they don't prefer. So they don't want to spend time sitting manually and not talking to people. So the actual stuff they can do depending on the inputs. Okay, so that would be more refreshing for your members as well as for your staff. Now, I think fundraising is something which is a very prominent part for all the associations and non-profits, right? So what Einstein does is helps increase that productiveness for fundraising. Now, how it does it? So it basically analyzes your fundraising prospects, and based on different engines or algorithms that it runs, it actually helps you in determining who are the prospects who can actually become donors. Okay, so there may be a lot of members within your association, maybe 1,000, but it may be that there are only 50 or 60 who are actually most likely, based on their past activity, likely to become donors, right? So your team can actually reach to them and talk to them and maybe get donations from them. Okay, and it actually helps, and that this Einstein analytics engine actually helps in understanding how it actually has reached to that point where it tells you that these donors, these are the prospects who are going to become the donors. Okay, so with this information, you can know which donors are most likely to give over $500, which volunteers are most likely to step up their involvement. Okay, so they may start getting engaged with more activities within your association, and who are the people who are most likely to drop out. Okay, so if you know who are the members who maybe will not renew their membership because they have been inactive, they have been dormant, you can actually collate that data, understand why, maybe start, your team can start calling them, understand why they are not so engaged with us, right? Maybe give them something that is more engaging and try to save them beforehand and ask them to renew the membership, right? So it is doing more of proactive sales as well as trying to mitigate the risks of members who are most probably about to resign from your system. So, and then obviously you can measure the performance and show how your the impact to your donors and volunteers, because every donor who is giving a donation for a cause, he wants to know how their contributions are actually making a difference, right? So if they're giving it for a child education, or if they're giving it for maybe some treatment, they should know like where their money is going and whether it's actually creating an impact or not, right? So how are you going to tell that story to them? So with Einstein Analytics, what it does is it actually tries to analyze the different marketing programs or the donation programs or the various initiatives that your team has taken, and try to see what is working and what is not working. And maybe things that are not working, maybe it's better to either define a different strategy for that, or maybe transfer funds to something which is more effective. Okay. So with this kind of information, you can actually go back to your donors and volunteers and tell them that your funds have been invested in this purpose, and they will exactly know where their money is going, and which will actually help them motivate to become a long-term donor, right? Because unless you go back and tell them how their contributions are making an impact, right, they are most unlikely to back off from the donations, right, and will not get motivated. So the only way to motivate them and make them maybe a permanent donor is to tell them that this is the kind of impact their contributions are making towards a cause. Okay, and that is only possible if you have that kind of analytics from Einstein to show it to them and to analyze. So I think these are some of the things how marketing is benefited by Salesforce Einstein. But let me tell you that all these things that we talked about in the last few slides on the Einstein Analytics is only possible if you have data available in your system. Okay, make sure that you have got data for all your members and it's complete, because if it is not complete, it is missing, then the analytics engine will run on the incomplete data and it may predict wrong results. Right? So if you are not capturing the engagement indicators within your system, right? Or if you are missing data about your members on what his interests are, right? Then the Einstein predictions will all be wrong. Okay. So you need to seriously think about all the member data that is available and make sure that it's consistent, it's complete, and it's reliable. Okay. And then make sure that all this data is exactly streamlined and mapped properly. Right. Then only you can actually run analytics for intelligent marketing, because unless you've got good data within your system and it's complete, there is no point in running analytics engine over it, because analytics engine just runs through historical records of whatever is stored in your system, and that is how it's going to predict how your marketing campaigns will run, segment the members based on that. Otherwise, it will be all wrong. So data is very, very important. And one of the tips that I would like to give you is make sure that you have got data cleansing activity within your system, which is happening, so that your data is cleaned and is accurate, right? And then only try to run analytics over it, because without data, there is no point of running analytics over your system. It will not solve any purpose for it, right? So I think this is what we have for today. If there are any questions and answers that you would like to ask, maybe you can just type it in the question and answers text box, and I will try to answer them as I get them. And we at Aplusify are actually working for a lot of association and nonprofits in managing their AMSs, in guiding them on analytics, on different services which Salesforce and different AMSs provides. We provide a lot of data migration guidance as well. So we have a team of around 300 developers who are working with our clients to provide them and educate them on different stuff. So we hold these kind of educational webinars based on our experience, so that we can educate every one of you, right, on how things work, and maybe simplify them to the level which you can understand. Okay. And even if you don't have any questions and answers right now, maybe you can send us your questions at vkr@aplusify.com. We will send you this presentation and recording after the end of this webinar to everyone who has registered for it. And I think we have one question. Let me see what that question is. So the question is, do we get the Einstein analytics along with the as an out-of-the-box feature from Salesforce? Yes. So I think with the new version of Salesforce, Einstein Analytics has become a part of Salesforce and is an out-of-the-box feature that Salesforce provides. You just have to make sure with your development team or your technical team to switch it on and use it in a fashion which is proper. Okay, when I say use it in a fashion which is proper, means there are certain configurations that you have to do at the Salesforce end, and make sure that the data is flowing correctly into the analytics engine from different sources. Because let me go back to that slide that I was talking about in the this one. So if you see here, right, what analytics engine is doing is, first step is obtaining data from different sources. Okay, so you have to make sure that it is picking the data from all the sources that you want to, right? And so if you have a Salesforce, you have got AMS, you've got event apps, you've got third-party systems, just make sure that the data is flowing from all these systems into the analytics engine, because that is the data which is going to get transformed, and it's going to run all its analytics algorithms on this data, and then transform it and predict on different dashboards and lenses that you can see. Okay, so this data is very important. And to answer your question, obviously, Salesforce Einstein Analytics is a part of the Salesforce that it provides. Okay, so with every new version that is there, they are putting in some extra features in the Einstein Analytics and making it more powerful. Since Salesforce has got acquired Tableau now, So it comes as Salesforce Tableau CRM Analytics. Okay, so you can see that in the dashboard where you can see all the apps. There would be a button which will talk about Salesforce Tableau Analytics CRM, right? That is where you can see all these reports and lenses, and you can see these data sets. But if you still think that you require help on this, feel free to mail us and we can actually help you out with it. So I think this is what we have for today's webinar. I can't see any more questions, but again, thank you everyone for attending this webinar, and we will hold more webinars related to this. And still, if you have any questions, feel free to mail us at vcare@aplusify.com. Thank you so much for attending and have a great day. Bye-bye.